What's up, people? Huge day, night, whatever time it is, wherever you are in the world, ahead for Xbox. We have got our business update from Xbox, which is the weirdest thing I've ever heard. I've never heard of Nintendo or PlayStation doing anything like this. So, I think something big might be on the horizon. What that'll be, I don't know. So many rumours. We'll find out very soon. What are the rumours so far? In case you're not up to speed. Well, we have got rumours saying that Xbox's first-party exclusive games are going to be going to Xbox, and not only there, to PlayStation and to Switch. That would be huge. What do you think about that? Do you like it? Do you love it? Do you loathe it? I don't know. I think it dilutes the value proposition of Xbox as a console and kind of as a platform, but they're saying that, oh, they want Xbox to be everywhere. I don't know. I just think that would be slowly but steadily then moving away from hardware, which I don't want to happen. More consoles, more competition, the better. But we will see in about 3 minutes. I'm trying to find the feed for this thing. So as soon as it goes live, we will be checking it out. And we put up a little poll as well. We've had a couple of votes. Does this update, which we've not heard what it is yet, make you feel more positive or negative about the future of the Xbox brand? 62% of you said positive and 38% said negative. Very, very interesting indeed, my friends. Very interesting. But I'm excited to see what it is. I hope there's some exciting / good news in there. There's also more rumors about even, more hardware, which would be awesome. I'm all for that. They're talking about potentially being a handheld, an Xbox handheld. Think about Steam Deck, but Xbox. I'd be all about that. And also potentially maybe this new Xbox, maybe they're going to cut this cycle short for the series consoles, and in 2026 get the new one out, which I think would be an awesome idea. Kind of like what happened with the 360, give a jump on the competition. Because with 360, they had about a year, I think it was, where they were unopposed before the PlayStation 3 arrived. And the Xbox 360, to me, was the god tier best time to be an Xbox player. Granted, I never had an original Xbox. I was PlayStation 1, then I got a PlayStation 2, then I got a 360, and then later on I got back to PlayStation 3, 4, 5, but then I got an Xbox One and Xbox Series as well. So if they could do anything that replicated what the 360 was like, I would be all for it. Just get, and the thing I think they keep missing, and Phil Spencer keeps saying in his interviews about, if we made some good games, it won't help shift consoles, it won't this, it won't that. It's all about good games. If you don't have good games, people won't even subscribe to Game Pass. If it gets full of cannon fodder, we need good games. And it sounds like Xbox has got some good games in the pipeline. All these studios they've bought up, they're now, sounds like they're starting to churn stuff out. We've got like Indiana Jones coming along, things like that. Now's not the time to just open that garden and give it to everyone. That's what I think, but I'm not in charge of Xbox, so what do I know? What do I know? But let's see, we've got another minute till this kicks off. And I cannot wait to see what they have in store. What's interesting, they're doing this in a podcast format. But let me know what you all think about exclusives. I see a lot of people now, and I think it's because of like the Fortnite generation, stuff like that. They just want to play their game everywhere. They don't care about that. I get that. Guess there's no right or wrong. I just don't want it to the point where it dilutes a brand's offering and they decide, we're not going to make Xboxes anymore or whatever. I just don't like the idea of an all-digital future or there's no competition. I want competition. Ideally, I'd love Sega just to jump back in the hardware business. That'd be amazing. I'd love Steam to decide, let's make a kind of console type thing as well, because the Steam Deck's been really successful. Hell, even maybe Apple might fire one out there. I doubt it, because they'll just be using their mobile phones and stuff like that. But, it could be interesting. That is Murray's dream world for you all. So let me try and see if this has went up yet, people. And then we will get rocking and a rolling. And it is. Are you ready, people? It's 22 minutes long. People, welcome to the Xbox business update. All the Xbox execs are here to tell us the future of Xbox. Is it going to be new hardware? Is it going to be games going third party? Is it going to be something else? Let me know what you think in the chat or in the comments if you're watching this on demand. And let's freaking go.
Hello and welcome to the official Xbox podcast. I'm your host, Tina Amini, and we have a very special episode today, as you can probably tell by the fact that I'm joined by Phil, Sarah, and Matt. Welcome. And we're going to talk about some updates at Xbox. We want to talk about game exclusivity. We want to talk about Activision Blizzard now that they're part of our portfolio, how that might be an impact on Game Pass. And we want to talk about hardware, too, and how all of this fits into the strategy at Xbox. So where should we start,
Phil? They bought Activision? Okay,
well,
interesting.
When we originally had planned for the show, starting back in December, I think we probably would have started with Activision Blizzard. Maybe talked a little bit about the exclusivity with some of the news coming up, and then hardware.
But then, as ever, their messaging was terrible, and it blew up online.
News that has come out. So let's just go and tackle the exclusivity question, because I know it's on the minds of a lot of people. We hear from the community, and that's an important input for us. So we made the decision that we're going to take 4 games to the other consoles, just 4 games.
Just
not a
4
change
games.
To our kind of fundamental exclusive strategy. We're making these decisions for some specific reasons.
Hope they tell us then.
We make every decision really with the long-term health of Xbox in mind. And long-term health of Xbox means a growing platform, our games performing, building the best platform for creators.
So then why would you ever buy an Xbox? You'd be like, well, it's going to come to PlayStation anyway if they just start doing that.
We're always looking to learn as a leadership team and to grow. And we think this is an interesting point in time for us to use what some of the other platforms have right now to help grow our franchises. So we're going to do that.
So these 4 titles, what are they? Can you say?
I'm not going to name those games. The teams that are building those games have announced plans that are not too far away. As
By the way,
know, game teams
I love
put a lot of
Xbox,
energy
I love PlayStation, I love
into
Nintendo, I love them all. I'm just a
partners.
gamer, right? But Xbox
I don't want to take anything away from those teams. So I won't be talking about the titles.
So you won't be taken away from the games, but you think this is a good thing to do?
What? It'll make sense.
Can we say if either of those titles are Starfield or Indiana Jones?
They are not Starfield or Indiana Jones.
Well, what was the criteria and how the
yeah.
team was thinking about selecting those 4 titles?
Let me start a little bit outside of that, and then I'll get to the 4 specific games that we're talking about right now. Because the fundamental decision driver for any decision that we make, anything we're going to talk about today,
it's about moolah to make money.
That we're running a growing platform that is reaching more players, that our games are having as much success as possible. And I do have a fundamental belief that over the next 5 or 10 years, exclusive games that are exclusive to one piece of hardware, are going to be a smaller and smaller part of the game industry. And that's not some great insight, because if you look at the last 10 years,
I agree, but I still don't see, like,
it's a natural place.
I don't see them putting
whether
on
it's one
competing
console
consoles.
PC,
I see it on PCs
consoles,
and on all these handhelds and stuff.
You see big games
and maybe
landing
mobile,
on
but
multiple platforms. And we want to be a great platform for creators that are trying to realize that.
We should maybe do a video tomorrow where we dissect this, because there's so many layers to this. You know, I don't want to seem negative, but
we looked at games that are over a year old, so they've been on Xbox and PC for a while. A couple of the games are community-driven games, new games that kind of first iterations of a franchise that have reached their full potential, I'd say, on Xbox and PC. There's always growth. Franchises that we obviously want to continue to invest in.
And Hi-Fi Rush, then, is that what we're saying, people?
Part of having the ability to continue to invest is that the businesses behind those franchises continue. We think it's important that these service-based games that have communities behind them, that they can have confidence that they're going to exist in the future. So 2 of them, kind of community-driven games that will end up on other platforms and give us the ability to continue to invest in them. We
Sea
think
of
that's
Thieves,
great
and
for
do
the
we think
business,
Halo
great for the
multiplayer,
community,
Halo
more
Infinite
players to play
multiplayer,
with.
Halo Master Chief
Two of the
Collection?
other games are smaller games that were never really meant to be built as kind of platform exclusives and all the fanfare that goes around that, but games that our teams really wanted to go build, that we love supporting creative endeavors across our studios.
That's got to be Hi-Fi Rush she's talking about now.
And as they've realized their full potential on Xbox and PC, we see an opportunity to utilize the other platforms as a place to just drive more business value out of those games, allowing us to invest in maybe future iterations of those.
It's interesting, the poll that we've got running live just now has been updated with more votes. It's now 50-50. 50% of you are positive about the future of the Xbox brand, and 50% of you are negative.
To help us with that.
Let me know if you do want me to dissect this in a video tomorrow,
really the story behind
and we can do that.
These 4 games. And last thing I'll say, looking forward, I think there is an interesting story for us of introducing Xbox franchises to players on other platforms to get them more interested in Xbox. We think there's a good brand value for Xbox there.
Games and that will happen
4 games,
naturally.
no promise beyond that. So if you're on those other platforms and you see these 4 games coming, please don't take it as some signal that everything's coming. It's not. And we're going to learn.
So when you are thinking about the future and this concept of live service games, games that can benefit from bigger audiences, new audiences, how does that apply to future titles and how you're applying that criteria there?
Yeah, there's really no fundamental change to how we think about exclusivity. We just came out of Developer Direct, which was an awesome show.
It was a good show.
Great games that are
really
coming
hyped
to
after
Xbox
that.
and PC and cloud, which really makes them accessible to
and they changed the stuff on the website afterwards.
So
instead of saying Xbox Series X
really
and S, it said
a
console.
Platforms and what's going to show up there.
Give us a clear message.
But
what's going on?
Our key of play the games you want with the people you want, anywhere you want, when everybody plays, we all win. These have been part of our strategy for years and will continue to be. Our focus is on how do we continue to grow the games industry by reaching more players in more places, and how do we grow Xbox as part of that. Xbox is a hardware platform, Xbox is a publisher of great games, and Xbox as a platform for the world's best creators.
And then knowing that, how do we think about our first-party games and Game Pass?
Yeah, well, to build on what Phil just said, one thing I would add, as you were talking about growth, is just that we've sort of seen this inversion over the last 5 years,
very comfortable up there. I don't
it used
think
to be
Phil,
that the platform was the biggest thing.
I get the vibe Phil doesn't believe what he's saying here.
Tuck in
Does anyone else see that? His body language,
today,
he looks...
big games like a Roblox or a Fortnite could actually be bigger than any one platform.
Yeah,
and that really has changed the way that we think about things. So in the midst of all that, I think
but you need to make a Roblox or a,
back to sort of
you know,
core
or a
principles.
Fortnite,
First,
or a
that all of our
Palworld or
games
something
will
like
be on the
that.
Xbox platform. Second,
Just really
all of our
shit like
games will go into
Redfall.
Game
It's
Pass
like, what?
on day
Even
one.
Starfield wasn't
And
as good as it could have been.
We
It's
know
like,
that
come
Game
on.
Pass will only be available on Xbox. So there's sort of starting points for
But
us.
at least that's some good clarity.
As Phil
So-
mentioned, there are games today that you can play that only can
Game
be found on
Pass
Xbox. And at the same time, we want to bring more of our games to more players.
That's the
So we're gonna
strategy there.
continue
They'll be
to look
bringing
at
their
that.
games to other
Kind of
platforms
moving
and charging
aside,
full
though,
price
from
for it.
some of those
In
and
the
thinking
hope
more about what does it really
that
mean
people
for the
really
player.
like them and
To
then
me,
go,
the
oh, but if I
two
bought an
key things
Xbox
are
and got Game Pass,
crossplay
I
and
get them
cross-save.
in my Game Pass subscription
Those things
for
allow
free
us to
instead of having
deliver
to buy
on
them
the
all
promise
individually.
of Xbox,
I think
which
that's
is
their new
play
approach
with your
here.
friends where they are, play on the devices you want, play the games you want. So that is really only possible at a practical level when you know that your saves and your player are going to be able to move across all those parts. So not all of our games today are necessarily built to take advantage of that. There still will be some games that don't. As we bring more teams into the Xbox family, there's some catch up to do as we get there. But that cross-play, cross-save is like so fundamental to what we're doing, and I think is something that we as first party get such a good benefit from being so close to the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things, like you said, all of our games are always in Game Pass. And so I'm excited to announce, you know, with the coming together that we had with Activision Blizzard King, that
some good news.
Activision and Blizzard games are coming to Game Pass, starting with Diablo 4 on March 28th, which I'm super, super excited to share today.
See, this is really
And
smart.
it's
They
all
could
part of our
all this
commitment to
negative
make
press
Xbox,
and then just
the
drop
Xbox
some
experience
amazing
and the
news and
games that
turn
we
it
build
around
is
so everyone goes,
widely available
oh,
as
fuck,
possible.
that's
So
amazing.
now the
That's
34
great.
million Game Pass members can all enjoy the fantastic experience of Diablo 4.
I want the old Call of Duty
Can we
games.
come back to the point, Phil, you mentioned at the top, this isn't really a change in strategy for us. Can you recap for me how it isn't?
Yeah, and I thought both Matt and Sarah did a really nice job of talking about what we're doing on Xbox, where we're going. you know, if you take a platform feature
I really
like
like
Xbox
Sarah
Play
Bond. I think
Anywhere,
she's really good.
which has been a promise
really
that
like
we've
Phil as
made
well,
on our
actually.
first-party games, that you can
Not
buy
seen
our
much of,
game
like,
once, you're
Matt
going to
Booty.
play across Xbox.
Has he been
and
on a lot of
Windows.
these things?
I think we're the only platform that does this. That makes it possible for you not only to play with your friends wherever they are, but to know that you actually have multiple entitlements to the games. I think that's a technology I would love to see applied to more platforms.
Oh, so if you buy it on
is
Xbox,
this
you can get it on PC and whatever.
That
Cool.
people are going to play Xbox in multiple places. Whether it's play the games you want with the people you want, anywhere you want, whether it's content, community, and cloud, whether it's when everybody plays, we all win. Like, we've had different
What do you think about
taglines,
playing
different
these games on a
strategy,
phone with
kind of
touchscreen? I just don't like
words
it at
that
all.
we've
We need
used, but
actual
always with this
tangible
view
controls.
that Xbox is a platform for creators who want to reach the most players. Our investments in xCloud, our investments in franchises like Minecraft and now Call of Duty and other large franchises, so that we learn how to build those. This has been a strategy that we've been on for, I'd say, a decade. It's not about one device. It's not about games in service of a device, but rather the devices that people want to play on should be in service of making the games as big and popular as they possibly could be. Because really, a healthy creator community on Xbox, a healthy creator community in gaming all up, is the thing that all of us as game players should be voting for, because that's the thing that will lead to the best long-term success and growth in this industry.
And my understanding, just from listening and learning from you three over the past few weeks, just understanding what's happening with Xbox, is that we see trends with player behavior where people are playing on multiple devices. That is the reality. And we have put some games out on multiple platforms before. So my understanding is that that's been good for players. How does that come back to the business with all of that in mind?
Yeah, as you said, we have shipped games on other platforms. In fact, realistically, if you look with the addition of Activision and Blizzard and ZeniMax, we're one of the largest game publishers on PlayStation.
They've
we're one
got,
of the
like,
largest
so
publishers
many
on
publishers,
the
it's
Nintendo
crazy.
Switch, especially when you put Minecraft into the equation as well. And now we're one of the largest publishers on mobile platforms as well. And that's not something that we want to back away from. We want to continue to be building great games that millions and millions of people can love, and that they can play those games where they want to go play. But we do understand the business success that Xbox has to have. Us as leaders in this business, the system today, the system that all companies that we play video games from, is a world of you got to be growing your business. Growth in our Xbox business is critical to the long-term health of Xbox. Many people know I've been on Xbox for over 20 years, and I want to make sure Xbox is in the best position for the next 20 years. That means healthy player community, healthy creator community, and healthy business. So when we look at opportunities to allow more people to play, more people to engage, more people to buy, more people to subscribe, it's all about putting Xbox in the best position. And our hardware is a critical component of that. The absolute best experience somebody has on Xbox is hardware that your team builds and that people play on. But that's not going to be everybody. We fully accepted that we're going to have Xbox players across all kinds of devices.
So I think a lot of people think about 2023 as this incredible year for gaming, and in a lot of ways it was. There was some really amazing releases that I think we all enjoyed. But what were the signals behind the scenes that maybe indicated how we wanted to look at the future of Xbox and how we kind of keep up with the industry?
Slow console sales and I think plateauing Game Pass.
As people who care about the industry, which I assume is people who are watching this, it was an amazing year. Some great launches, some of those games that I think will stand the test of time and people will be talking about a decade from now. But it's an industry that didn't really grow. And what happens when an industry doesn't grow? You end up with some job eliminations, which we had. We had even our own hard decisions to make about building a sustainable business for ourselves, but in no way were we alone in that. When you think about a healthy industry, I want players who believe that they will find the best games on the platforms that they love. I want people who invest their careers in working here to feel like this is a place that they can be successful. And that really is down to being part of an industry that is growing. If you listen to Lisa Su, the AMD CEO, she'll say that AMD-powered consoles are likely to decline in 2024. I think there's an amazing set of games coming in 2024, but if we don't get to growing as an industry, the industry will struggle. And today there's really two choices on how do you grow the industry. Do you say I have a fixed number of players, the players that we have today, and do I find new ways to monetize those players to get more money from the players that I have? Or do you think about how do I expand the business I have by finding new players and adding those to the base of players that already play? Our focus on Xbox for the last decade has really been on that latter point of how do we make sure Xbox is growing for our players, growing for our creators, so those people are finding success on our platform, which will grow the Xbox business and put Xbox in a position to be very strong for years and decades to come.
Matt, earlier you were talking about these growing gaming communities, how they're incredibly large and comparable on such a different level when we think about console audiences. Like you mentioned Roblox, you mentioned Fortnite. So how are we're obviously thinking about our responsibility, our hardware responsibility is supporting the growth of gaming communities. How has that actually shown up for the players? Are there other games we can speak to from our portfolio?
Well, as Phil mentioned, I mean, two of the biggest ones for us, Call of Duty and Minecraft, I mean, they are driven just from the bottom up by the communities of people that play those games, which is so great. I think
maybe not
think
now,
about it
but
for
soon.
the player community, it comes down to where are the friends, where are the people you play with, and then equally important is where have you built up your library of games,
Xboxes
right?
have they sold? It's like 22
invested?
million or
Where's that
something?
library? I think
And what was
those
the
two things
best-selling console of
probably
all time?
are some
It's
of the
the
biggest influences on where people
PS2,
choose
isn't
to
it?
play and
It's
what
like
devices
100,
they choose to play.
22
When we
million or
think
something.
about
So
on the
plenty
other
of room
side,
to
the
go.
developer
Clearly,
side,
people are not
just
enthused with
any
the
game
games as well,
developer
I think.
wants their game to find the biggest audience possible. That's just the nature of building a game. You want people to enjoy and participate in
why
what
you
you've
see
made.
third parties really
And
focusing
I
on
think
PlayStation
we're
'cause it's
in
number
a
one
unique
just now.
position to deliver on that just because we are the platform. We build hardware, we've got a first-party games group, and then we've got a system that
Xbox
ties
has like
that
no
together.
excuses. The amount
that
of
brings together
amazing
your
studios they've
friends,
got.
your progression,
They must have
your
some
achievements,
bangers of
all
games ready to
that.
go
I
soon.
think that's really what
come
has
on.
contributed to the momentum behind some of these communities.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you look at, just step back and you look at the history of the industry, we've moved from a place where it used to be that someone built and launched a game to accelerate hardware to actually the things we do with our hardware and with our platform are all in service of making those games bigger. And we think about that across all of the investments we make, the consoles we build, the investments we do with things like cross-play, cross-progression, the things that we're doing with cloud. How do we actually give more options to game creators so they can have the
Cloud's been kind of
greatest
quiet
success?
with Xbox recently, hasn't
I
it?
think
We
one of
spoke
the
about that a lot
fun
a while
recent
ago as well.
examples about this is actually Pal World. You know, Pal World was able to launch, they were a game preview, they launched in Game Pass, they also simultaneously launched in Steam. And through the combination of those things, you know, Pocket Pair was able to have this outsized success.
Because
and
it was a
the
good
largest
game.
third-party Game Pass launch ever. And that's all
I'd love
because
to
we
just
give
have a chat
creators
with
options
these
on how
people,
they can launch their games. We've
try and
got
put my point
subscription, we've
across
got
as well a
retail,
little
we've
bit,
got
like,
free-to-play, we've got game preview, we have the consoles, we have our experience on PC, and they can access all of
comes
those
down
things.
to good games, I'm sorry.
And when we step back and
It's
we
like you
just
look at
look
like
the
Netflix, for
performance of
example,
our
people
platform
only
all
subscribe
up,
to
we know
Netflix
it's
to get
working.
their like
We're at the
Netflix
highest
only
level of users
exclusives.
on console, the highest level of users on PC, the highest level of users on cloud ever. We have double-digit growth rate on PC and cloud, places where we're enabling creators to actually reach new players
I think
beyond the console ecosystem.
Xbox,
and that's why we're
PlayStation,
leaning into
and
it and
eventually
doing
probably
more because we
Nintendo, they're
see
all
those
going to
signals.
lean into PC.
So we're talking
big
about
time.
the
Watch
role
this.
that hardware
PC
plays
Master
for
Race will be
creators, for the
laughing.
games and those
You'll have it
communities.
all.
What about the role that hardware plays for us as a business, for Xbox?
When we look at our hardware, it really is, and Phil said this earlier, it's where you get like the most flagship seminal experience of Xbox. And it also represents a developer target. Our developers can build the specs of our hardware, and we invest to make sure they know when they do that the games are going to run great on our hardware, but they're also going to be able to be accessed across any screen because of all the other investments we make. So we're giving them an easy way to access as many players as possible. And we actually have more creators right now building for Xbox than ever before by nature, thousands of them by nature of those investments. And we got more to come. There's some exciting stuff coming out in hardware that we're going to share this holiday. And we're also invested in the next generation roadmap. And what we're really focused on there is delivering the largest technical leap you will have ever seen in a hardware generation, which makes it better for players and better for creators and the visions that they're building.
And then when we're talking about hardware,
Hopefully
too,
they've
there's these
been
other
obviously,
considerations
or
that are
all
really important to
digital,
our community,
Series X.
probably to each one of ourselves as well. When
There's an
you
Xbox
talk about
720, that's
libraries,
what we
I want to
want.
dig in on that a little bit more. You know, as we talk about cloud in the wider entertainment industry, there's conversations about streaming. How is that impacting how I own my content that I've invested in? So what can we say
NFTs
about
so
our
we can own our
stance
games
around
or
game
something next.
preservation?
Yeah, you know, one of the highlights for me of being in this position was getting to stand on stage when we announced back compat.
That was one of the best things
coming to
Xbox did.
One.
Xbox
It was
back
fantastic.
compat is
People were reading
shit
teleprompter
hot. It's
before I
so
could
good.
read it. I'm a slow reader.
I'm probably playing
And just
more
feeling
old
the
games
energy
on my
in the-
Xbox
in
now
the,
than any
in
new
the
games.
auditorium as we were saying that
good.
and online.
Revisiting
You know,
classics,
one of the
checking out
cues I
classics
think
that you
us
missed
as being
back in
part
the
of
day.
Microsoft take is looking at Windows and how Windows over decades has maintained software compatibility with things that are built on it. Like I can still go back and play some of the games that I love playing on
To be fair,
Windows from
that is pretty
decades
good. I
ago,
like that. It's a good
and it
example.
will still run. And we try to
GG's
bring
Phil.
that same view to consoles. It's harder in console because the line between what the hardware is and what the game is in consoles is traditionally it's tighter, which makes compatibility. You end up doing these generational compatibilities that we've built. But I will say compatibility, the ability to not only play the games, but my saves are still there with our cloud save systems to
Xbox
try to
cloud
keep
save
the
system is
services
really
up
good.
as long as we
I do
can
really
so
like
that
that.
people
I think
can
it's far
play
superior to other
is a
platforms.
tenet of what we are as Xbox. It's at our foundation. And when we look at future hardware generations and what we're going to support, making sure that we respect, which is the word I use, respect the investments that people have made in Xbox going forward is fundamental. And the fact that you get entitlements when you buy a game from us on both Windows and Xbox also means you have the ability to play that game across a multitude of devices, which I think furthers the compatibility of the games that you own.
Can we go back to what Xbox stands for today? I think we've pretty much covered all of the elements, but if you could break it down for me.
Gaming
You know,
everywhere,
when you
anywhere.
play on Xbox, what we're saying is you're playing on a platform where you know the biggest games in the world are always going to be. You're playing on a platform where you get to access Game Pass. And all
Game
of the
Pass, I
games
like that.
from our incredible range of studios will always launch in Game Pass day one. And you're playing
That's
on a
good.
platform
More
that's
clarity.
dedicated to you, like
I
player
thought that
first
might be going away, but
features,
that's good.
cross-play, cross-save, cross-progression, backwards compatibility, being able to play your games in your library anywhere you want because of the investments that we make in cloud gaming. And so you're playing somewhere where you're investing and you know you get to take the games forward with you and across all of the screens where you are. And I think most importantly, Xbox is a place where you know when you're investing in Xbox, you're investing somewhere that is
Invest. How many
dedicated to
times have they
making
said
games
investing?
more successful and creators more successful
We're
so that
investing
they
in
can
Xbox,
invest more to bring
we're
even
investing,
better
we're investing.
experiences to you all of the time.
Yeah, just that investment in the studios is so, and we feel that as part of first party with the platform proximity.
This is
You know,
gonna
it's
get memed how many times
kind
they've
of
said that.
amazing now to look out across all the studios that we've got and just be reminded that we're now one of the biggest development organizations in the industry. What does that mean for players? It means that the biggest games are going to continue to come to Xbox. And this 2024, the year coming up, we've got more than 10 major releases coming up. Great stuff.
That sounds like a
Hellblade
worry, as
2,
if it was
we've
maybe
got
the biggest
Diablo
games were not
expansion,
going to
we've
continue
got
coming to
Avowed,
Xbox,
Ara,
hence they needed
the
to
Indiana
buy up
Jones
these studios.
game,
That's very
and
weird.
there's more in
wordplay.
development, which I think we're going to be able to share more about at our June showcase coming up pretty soon.
Well, I
June
guess I should
showcase.
get
I'll
ready
be there.
to
You'll
work
be
on
here.
that
Make sure you all
show.
subscribe. Ring that notification
Well,
bell.
thank you all for showing up on the podcast today, and we'll see the rest of you this June.
Yeah,
Thanks, Tina.
thank you.
Well, people. Pressed the wrong button there. I was saying, there we go, people. What do we make of that? What do we make of that? Let's have a quick kind of recap of that. Let's start with the good. Sarah Bond clarifying that Xbox games will still always come day one to Game Pass. That's good. So the value proposition for Game Pass is still locked in. That's why many, many people subscribe to it. Even though I would say the Xbox exclusives have been pretty poor lately. They've not been to the level we would want or hope. not to the Xbox 360 levels when they used to have bangers like all the Gears of War coming out, Halo 3, all these kind of games. But maybe they'll get back there. That would be cool. Then Sarah also mentioning that we are going to get Activision Blizzard games dropping on to Xbox Game Pass soon, starting in March with the new Diablo game. So that's pretty cool. Sounds good. I cannot wait to get my hands on all the old Call of Duty games, and hopefully there'll be some other games we maybe forgot about that could drop in there. Or hopefully there'll be some games they'll revamp from the archives of Activision Blizzard. I would like to see some of the Crash Bandicoot games drop on to Game Pass. Crash Team Racing, that would be amazing. Then, let's talk about the bad. We'll give them two bad. So too good, too bad. I would say on the whole that was okay. It was just really weird. I thought like Phil seemed really uncomfortable at certain points. And such a weird thing to have to do. Like, our poll's been updated again that we've been running throughout this stream. It's now saying 55% of you are negative about the future of Xbox. Doesn't surprise me saying stuff like that. But Phil seemed quite uncomfortable at certain points. I got the impression that he didn't believe what he was saying, particularly when I said that during the broadcast. And the amount of times that they said, invest, you're investing in this, invest. It's like, we just want to play the best games. Like, give us some good games. Like, come on. Like, it's not that difficult. Just make good games. Give us good games on a good console. We will be happy. I'll put that together as one kind of bad thing. The second bad thing and the worst thing of the show was saying off the bat that 4 games are going to be going to the other consoles and then not naming the games. That was just like clear as mud. And that is the one thing I do think Xbox have been really bad with over the past couple of years, is their messaging is so bad. It seems like they never seem to have I know they're talking about this strategy, saying they've had it for years and they're sticking to it, but it feels like they're always being reactive. It doesn't actually feel like, I mean, I just can't imagine like Nintendo doing this, for example, or Sony doing this. It's just, I don't know. It's very bizarre. It felt kind of desperate at the end with all this investment chat. And then the fact they didn't tell us which 4 games it was, but then they were like, but other than that, it's nothing to worry about. No other games will be going. Not yet. Nothing's decided. They did say it's definitely not going to be Starfield and Indiana Jones yet. But it's like, well, how do we know what is going on here? It's just, it's not very clear. And there was no actual reasoning behind it. The reasons they gave, I didn't think held water. You know, let me know what you all think about that. But very, very interesting. I'm intrigued to hear what you all think about it in the comments. I'm also intrigued to hear what other commentators on YouTube think about this. Good to see they seem to be committing to more hardware. That's also a positive, I guess. But on the whole, very, very strange kind of update to have to do. Sounds like they've had to do that because, I don't know, rumours or whatever got out, and then I guess maybe they're panicking because everyone, the Xbox community online seemed to have gone into meltdown about what's going on here. All exclusives are going to PlayStation. No. But it's been funny to watch. I've kept comms quiet about it, to be honest with you, but I do just think genuinely they should focus on making the best games possible. If they make the best games possible, everything else will fall into place. People will buy more Xboxes. People will subscribe more to Game Pass. It's like when Xbox do stuff where they big up things like, you know, this game's going to be amazing. It's our next big tentpole release and it's Redfall and it's absolute shit. It doesn't work. It's so glitchy. It's a mess and it's a crap game. You're like, oh, and then they come out and then they have Starfield next, which was meant to be, you know, the best thing since sliced bread. It was okay. It's a good game, but it was not at the levels that, you know, the hype and what everyone was expecting. I mean, for a next gen game, it's really frustrating when you play it. Every 2 minutes, there's like a loading screen. You're like, what is going on? Like, come on. And then with Phil, when he was on, I can't remember what podcast was it, Kind of Funny podcast or something like that. I might be wrong. He was on that the last time there was a meltdown. I think that was after Redfall came out. And he was on apologising, but he was saying, we're third place, we're behind PlayStation, we're behind Nintendo, we can't get back up there by just making good games. So that's why their strategy is different. They're changing their strategy. It's all going to be games everywhere for everyone, cloud, all this kind of stuff. But they need to release like banger after banger. They need like a couple of good games in a row for people to actually go and invest. I've had buddies that have got PlayStations and they've texted me being like, oh, this Halo Infinite looks amazing. I might need to get an Xbox. And then the game comes out and it's not very good. So then they don't. And then, for example, you maybe get a game that comes out that's good. They're like, oh, I like the look of this game, like a Hi-Fi Rush. Oh, I might need to get an Xbox. But then the next game comes out as Redfall and it's absolute garbage or whatever the order is. And so they go, they just stick to what they have and what they know. So it's frustrating. But then I have had a few that have picked up an Xbox Series S because it's just a Game Pass machine, cheap way to get into the ecosystem. They get in and then they've loved Game Pass. But the thing that's funny about it is they'll pick up Game Pass so they can get the big Xbox games day one. The only one I'll say that is a straight 10 that deserves all the praise and I think should be or is a console shifter is the Forza Horizon games. Forza Horizon 5 is fucking amazing. It is an incredible game. Forza Motorsport, nah, it was definitely not as good. It wasn't up to scratch, no way. But Forza Horizon, yes, incredible stuff. But what I was saying, my friends have picked up a Series S console. They then got Game Pass to get involved, check it out. They'll get Game Pass because they'll get all the Xbox big AAA games day one at no extra cost. But then they've not been very good, so they've not actually ended up playing them. What they have been playing is checking out all the amazing little indie games that you would never buy or pick up or have heard of. But because they drop into Game Pass, you go, oh, I'll check out Vampire Survivors, I'll check that out. I'll check out Brotato, yeah, I'll play that. And then you play all these amazing games. I'll check out the Gunk, and it's that seems to be the lifeblood right now of Xbox Game Pass for me. So it's going to be an interesting few months. I cannot wait till June. That's when we're going to get, it seems like a sneak peek at some new hardware. I'm always up for new hardware. I love tangible things. Give us some hardware. None of this cloud malarkey. Anyways, maybe I'm just getting old. Thank you all for tuning in. Loved you all hanging out here with me. I loved all the votes. So now it's 50-50. We're going to end the poll right now. Does this update make you feel more positive or negative about the future of the Xbox brand? 50% said positive and 50% said negative. Is that a good outcome for Xbox? I don't know. Let me know what you think about this update in the comments. Keep it locked and loaded here for all things Xbox. We've got a good video going up tomorrow night for you all. And we'll be covering all the Xbox Live events and everything Xbox here on the channel. Much love to your faces.